Hi, I'm Barbara Kellar. I'm here today with my guest, Lois Rosenthal, who falls under the category that I describe as the face behind the name on the building. And all of you have heard of Lois and Dick Rosenthal because they're one of the greatest benefactors our city has ever had and will hopefully continue to have. But I'd like you to meet Lois and know her as a person and hear about some of the things that she's interested in and what she's hoping and is doing for the city.
Thank you, Barbara. That was very kind.
You're very kind, too. Tell us about now, your name is certainly on the building at the Contemporary Arts Center. Is that your greatest love, or is there something else?
I think that's Dick's greatest love. Dick was chairman of the board and president of the board and very active in selecting the architect. So I think the CAC is his baby. We kind of divide our loves and then come together a lot in loving both of the, many, many things together. But I think the CAC was his baby.
Well, that's great that you can keep him busy with all that sort of thing. Tell me, you mentioned the architect. Tell me just a little bit about what that was like to choose, because she is so flamboyant. Say her name, because
Zaha Hadid is the architect.
Hadid, right.
And she was the first woman in America to ever have been commissioned a museum. So it was quite a breakthrough, and especially for her because she is so avant-garde. So many times she was commissioned, but the buildings weren't built. Now she has billions of dollars worth of commissions now. She just finished the BMW plant in Germany. She's got a whole city she's doing in Singapore. She's just doing amazingly well, and I'm very, very pleased for her. She's very flamboyant, very, very exacting, very, very difficult to work with. But it was very exciting because there were almost 100 architects who applied, and the 5 finalists were, Rem Koolhaas and many very famous architects. But Zaha was the winner, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, well, she certainly has given us a building that you could be proud to have your name on. And since then, I mean, my gosh, the press that she's gotten and the awards. And I think it's extremely interesting that she's an Iraqi woman.
Yes, she is an Iraqi woman, and she won the Pritzker Prize, which is the most prestigious prize for architecture, and we're very proud to be associated with her. She's wild. I love her.
Well, I met her at the opening, and she was, talk about flamboyant.
Oh, she's a presence.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She only wears Miyake, and she wears very architectural jewelry. And if she has 100 architects working for her now.
Wow.
In her place in London, and she will walk across the room and then throw this on the floor, and that's no good. And this, she's amazing. People are frightened of her.
As well they should be.
As well they should be. She does not suffer fools lightly.
Right. Well, we like that in a
yes,
person, don't we?
Yes, we
like
do.
To cut to the chase, and let's cut out the foolishness. Well, it's a great thing you did for the city, and not just a building, but a building that brought a lot of attention to Cincinnati. I remember reading the New Yorker article.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And the New York Times, Herbert Muschamp was in love with her, so it was great.
Just on and on and on. Well, tell us about your current project.
Well, the project that I'm working on that's not Uptown Arts, which is where I spend a lot of my time, is the Innocence Project at the University of Cincinnati. We have endowed that. It's now the Rosenthal Institute for Justice, which funds the Innocence Project. And they have had 2 exonerations in the last several months, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
So law students take a case in Ohio. Many people who are in prison write to the law school, and they do interviews to select candidates who they think are unjustly incarcerated. And took 2 years, but they have gotten this Mr. Elkins out of prison, who was there for rape and murder he did not commit, and just recently.
Yeah, that was in the press.
Yes, and so it's very, very exciting for students to learn that they can make a difference in this world, and students who, many of them want to be corporate attorneys, are now saying, no, I think that maybe being defense attorneys is what I want to do. So it's changing a lot of lives.
Well, it's certainly gotten the acclaim that it deserves, and getting law students busy thinking about it and working on it is because I'm sure they don't do these things pro bono, but they are court appointed, and there's not the money in defending people as there is if they, as you say, became corporate executives or
right.
So it's
and one of the things that was interesting, the Contemporary Arts Center now has an exhibit up called The Exonerated and the Innocence. Mm-hmm. And it is photos from a book done by Taryn Simon from an exhibit that started in New York. So there are 25 photographs of people who have been exonerated. Mm-hmm. And I recently had an event at the Contemporary Arts Center that linked the photographs with the law students. And
my goodness, how wonderful.
And we brought in the man from Louisville who was pictured in the book. Mm-hmm. So he talked about being in jail for 7 years in Kentucky for a crime he didn't commit. So it was very exciting to see an exhibit and then have a man step forward and say, "That's me.
Yeah,
that was me in jail," and it was very exciting.
Yeah, exciting. And
so linking the art of art and the art of justice was exciting to us.
Well, that's sort of an example of what a well-rounded kind of life you and Dick lead, in that you do the art, but you do other things that are just humanitarian as well. And if Dick is the artist part who likes the Contemporary Arts Center, I know you have a great love.
Yes. Well, Uptown Arts is a warehouse that we renovated 5 years ago over the Rhine. It's 13,000 square feet, and we have 350 children come who between the ages of 5 and 10, and we offer classes in ballet, jazz dance, musical theater dance, art, acting, art, acting, theater, and dance. And it's just pretty incredible because after these years, our children are getting scooped up. One little boy is now dancing with the ballet. He has a scholarship.
Oh my gosh!
He was in the Nutcracker this year. We have.
Oh, I remember that little boy.
Little
He
Daniel.
was terrific.
Yes, he's beautiful.
He was. Yeah.
And so many organizations are looking for diversity, and we have much diversity. So we have 6 kids on scholarship at the Playhouse in the Park in the summer. Wow. We have 12 kids at the Taft Museum Camp in the summer. We have 18 kids at a program at the Contemporary Arts Center. In the summer they learn about architecture, so they're there for a week. So it's wonderful. And they are getting into the School for Creative and Performing Arts. They're getting scholarships for other places. So we can nurture these children, many of whom are extremely talented. And they go to Shield, they go to School for Creative and Performing Arts, they go to other places and go on.
How do you recruit them to come to you in the first place?
They find us. I mean, we do a lot of promoting in the schools.
In the schools, yeah.
But the way they qualify is they have to be between 5 and 10, and they have to qualify for a free lunch in school, which means your poverty level. And they come, and we have the best mothers who say, I will have my mother pick her up, my father will drop her off. They do heroics. They will not eat lunch, but take their lunch break at 3, pick their children up at school, bring them down to us.
Oh my gosh.
And they are totally and completely dedicated to their children. I have mothers who want their child to have a complete ballet outfit, although we don't ask that. In 1 week they can afford the leotard, the next week they buy the shoes.
Oh
the next
gosh,
week,
yeah.
I mean, they're completely and totally dedicated to their children getting ahead.
And you also take large groups of children to various performances in the city, I know.
Yes, well, Lynn Myers is right around the corner with Ensemble Theater, so she gave us 2 performances of Cinderella.
Oh,
and so we took about 450 parents and kids, because we want very much for the parents who've never been to a theater either to see a live performance with their children, and it's life-changing.
Yes.
It's so important for the parents to participate with the children because they see what a difference it makes. Yeah. We have children who are showing their parents what dance is.
Yeah.
And when they come to performances, they're so proud to see their children excel. So it's bringing an art form into the family.
And how many artists don't you know who say, well, I knew I wanted to be a dancer, or I knew I wanted to be a singer when I went to that first ballet, or I went to that first opera, and they see it and they say, this is me, and I could. And I'm sure even though they don't all end up in careers
Right.
they're still learning to love the arts.
And their lives are expanded.
Right, their lives are different and wonderful. And
it's so funny, though, to be so dated. There was one little girl who was so good at singing, and I said, oh, my goodness. I said, you're so good, you're like Diana Ross. And she said, who is she?
Oh, no.
And I said, well, who's your favorite singer? She said, Beyonce. I said, well, now I know how old I am.
Yes, right, yeah. When Diana Ross is a Beyonce.
Who is that? Well, who is that Diana Ross?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, that is funny. Well, you probably have a lot of wonderful personal experiences with these kids, because I know from having other conversations with you that you are absolutely passionate about, you love them as people, not just as someone that you can do something for, but they give you a lot back.
They give me a lot back because of their bravery, and they also make me feel humble. I have a mother who lives in Avondale, who takes 2 buses to pick up her child in College Hill, 2 buses to come back to Uptown Arts for classes, and then 2 buses back to Avondale. And that's 6 buses in an afternoon. She has perfect attendance. She's been at Uptown Arts for 3 years, and she has not missed 1 class in 3 years. That's 17-week semesters, 2 17-week semesters a year. I mean, in the rain, in the snow. And we have many, many, many people who do that, and that's hard.
Well, it teaches you. You're learning as much as they are about human beings and what the love that people have and what they're willing to do for a passion.
Right.
So in their ways, they're contributing as you are and making their children great citizens and
I remember
art lovers.
my grandmother taking me to ballet and to piano lessons and telling me, and I better work hard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of history repeating itself.
Yeah. And people who think that parents are different in different ways.
They're the same, and it's just very, very exciting. We had an art show, and the kids studied Egypt. So we have 5 art classes, and so that's 100 children. So we had 100 children, and we met Sarah Jane Bellamy is our art teacher, and she's incredible. And so there's a whole installation, and they made pyramids, and they made sarcophaguses, and they could tell you how a mummy was done, and how you stuck something up their nose and pulled their brains out so the bodies wouldn't
Yes,
stink.
right, I remember
you
that,
know, the
yes.
whole thing. And I mean, they went into detail with the parents, and the parents are, whoa.
Yeah, it's more than we need to know.
It's too much information, but they not only learned the art, they learned about history, a foreign land, and they loved about the brains. That was the best part.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, anything they can do to gross out the adults.
They gross me out every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Do you have any plans for the future that are different or just more of the same? Or
I think that our passions are running mostly toward, I think, providing those social needs for people who do not have them. I know that Dick is very involved with the Fine Arts, with the Fine Arts Institute. I always call it the Fine Arts Fund, and it reminds me it's the Fine Arts Institute.
Right.
And he's very involved with that, and the Contemporary Arts Center. And Dick is also very active with the Free Store Food Bank. I was on that board for 12 years, and now Dick has taken over and taken it light years ahead.
I imagine.
And there is a program called Cincinnati Cooks, where people who have not had job training, it's actually not in the building next door, in the
Here.
Queen City what was one time Queen City Vocational School. It's across from Taft. I don't even know what that building is called now.
I don't know.
But people who have not had job training come for 10 weeks to learn how to cook, and the food that they cook goes to the kids' cafes and many of the social agencies in the city. But these people are then able to get jobs as chefs, chef's assistants. Karen Meyer is very involved in that program. Many of them go on to Frisch's. So Dick is very, very involved with that program as well.
Anything that can be done to help people help themselves is
Absolutely.
number one.
In fact, one of my mothers at Uptown Arts says my husband is at Cincinnati Cooks, and he went back for a refresher course, and now he's an advanced chef at one of the hotels downtown. So it's great. It's really great to see people thrive.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate being able to talk to you this morning and have other people know about what you do, because I think in this city You're unique
thank you.
in the diversity of the things that you do and the people whose lives you touch. And I don't think there is ever time enough to thank people enough for what they do, but just remembering it, and maybe there'll be other people who think that it's a good idea too. So you're a role model for a lot of people, I hope.
Well, thank you for your kind
You're
words.
welcome.
And I appreciate you asking me to be here.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for watching CET Express. Good day.